Samir, my brother, welcome to the show, my guy.
Yes, sir. Good to have you.
So happy to have you on. You're an inspiration for the culture.
Appreciate it.
This is a long time coming.
Yes, sir.
Who you are, and we'll get right into it.
My name is Samir, founder of Family Matters Clothing and digital apparel printing.
What is Family Matters? What's that thing you want people to know about Family Matters? I know we went to high school together.
Yeah.
You know, and you started it by when I was a senior or like a junior, but that
I started. I guess it was in high school because was I still at Flavor Factory? It was really 2010, late 2010. So it was like right, on the far end of high school, I guess. Going into 2011. And yeah, I mean, it's just really just community and clothing. You know what I mean? Community through clothing.
Yeah.
So it's just it really is a community brand that wants to provide the feeling and the of togetherness and just kind of unity through clothing and garments.
With this episode, I wanted to just really highlight entrepreneurship and show that, with the great passing of Nipsey Hussle and what he was doing, I think it's really sparking a lot of people in entrepreneurship. But for people that have been doing it in the city of Charlotte like yourself, just happy to have you on.
No doubt.
So what you had to sacrifice for all this?
It's a good question, actually. How do I say a kind of a standard lifestyle? So like you really have to be comfortable being different, spending your time wisely, and not falling into the traps that that your environment might throw at you. You know what I mean? So it really just kind of it forces you to dig your own path and kind of go on your own thing.
How did you maintain that, like at that young age? Like, what do you have to? Your parents were telling you, hey, you got to go and hang out with your friends. And
I mean, they weren't. My parents in particular are kind of workaholics. Yeah. So like, my dad worked at Papa John's. He drove for Papa John's for probably 15 years. You know what I mean? Like, and didn't. My mom worked for the airlines for since '85. Yeah. So both of them had that. I got work ethic from both of them, kind of genetically. So they appreciated it as much. They weren't like, oh, why aren't you doing this? They had my back more than anything. So it was in terms of what they thought about it, they were super supportive. They helped me out in anything I could have asked for or needed.
Yeah. What's from the beginning of Family Matters to where you're at now? What's this like learning curve? Like, are you grateful for all this stuff that?
Oh man.
You've been in business for how long now?
About to be 9 years, 8 years.
Congratulations,
into 8 years.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm just now understanding what needs to be done. So, yeah, I mean, the learning curve is crazy. Like, I've been. Kind of as you start something or as you see something shallowly, you can kind of feel like it's going to be easy to learn or it's not going to take that long to get a hang of it. But I'm still, feel like I'm just beginning when it comes down to what I know and what it's going to take to push it forward.
Me, when I started my brand, Il Glory, I knew how, what it took. I got myself a laptop, got myself a camera, got myself a little screen printing press.
Yeah.
Then you come in this beautiful space, you got the full operation going down.
For sure.
People didn't believe in what I was doing at the same time.
Yeah.
That's your brand has. When I saw it coming up, it was very inspiring towards mine.
Dope.
It really was like, yo, we got a young cat that needs to know, really doing big things. It puts that fire in my belly,
Dope.
so to speak.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank you on that.
No doubt, man.
What would you, if you could go back in time, tell your younger self, the younger Samir?
I would tell myself, don't second guess your decisions. I've done a lot of great things, not alone, with faith, with the help of my team, but a lot of decisions kind of got made for me when it comes down to like having a choice, and I would feel something in my gut and go with the other option or vice versa. So I would just, if you feel it, do it.
Why do you think we do that?
Humans, silly humans, man. We're just silly humans, and I think we expect things to be harder than that. You know what I mean? Like when you're faced with a decision, I think that we expect like, nah, there's no way that I can see it that clearly from the jump, or that I'm right the first time. I think that we have this desire to kind of keep seeking for the options, and we're kind of like option hungry. We want to make sure we've laid as many different things out. So you know, I just think that it's in our nature almost to be kind of skeptical of ourselves.
Yeah. It definitely was in my nature, but I'm happy I was able to just burn that
for sure
mug away.
For sure.
It gets me more direct. You know, it brings more joy.
Absolutely.
So we had the passing of Nipsey Hussle. Rest in
peace.
power. And I've been seeing a lot of things on Facebook. There's Nipseys in your own cities.
Yeah.
You know, but you had a special connection to Nipsey.
For sure, yeah.
And how did you hear about his music, and how did you feel about this whole thing?
So when I used to work at Flavor Factory, when I used to intern at Flavor Factory, one of my good homies was from the West Coast. He was from Rosecrans out in LA, and he had just kind of put us on, and you know, his music was it was different. It wasn't really like good music, what people consider like sonically, you know, fascinating music. But what he was saying, his message was really important, really dope, and it resonated with me, especially, you know, being just like a young hustler trying to make it happen. It was motivation. So yeah, I mean, we just kind of discovered it that way, and you know, we were.
He came to a show out here, right?
Yeah, we booked him back in 2013 or 2014 on the Crenshaw tour. You know,
wisdom, or like,
you know, I mean, the one thing, not really, man. Like, he was so about his business. It was, you know, we didn't really like kick it very much. Like it was super business oriented, which I respected. You know what I mean? Like when he came, I had a care package of shirts for him, and was like, "Yo, I got some stuff. Like if you want to wear it on stage." And he was like, "Appreciate that, but you know, we got our own stuff." You get what I'm saying? And that just was like something that was just, you know, kind of spoke to who he was. It was just kind of like, yeah, like I appreciate that, but you know, first things first. Like let's count up the back end of the deposit. And you know, when he was coming through, I was, this was like kind of, I would say, coming off of the peak of the Bodega, which was an event that we used to put out here in Charlotte, and
I used to love those things.
Yeah, they're dope,
Staples.
For sure. And
bring it back.
I had reached out to the team, and I was like, "Yo, Nipsey Hussle's routing a tour through Charlotte. He's only gonna charge me $4,000. You get what I'm saying? To book a show." I was like, I want to do it. I don't know. Nobody really knows Nipsey out here like that. Like I don't think it's a good decision. Blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, you know what I mean? I'm doing it.
Was it at Tremont?
It was at a neighborhood theater. So you know, I was like, well, I'm doing it. So you know, I offered it up, y'all. So you know, I was like, I'm doing it anyways, and for myself. And then you know, I ended up going ahead and paying the deposit and kind of starting things on my own. And then you know, the team kind of recentered back over and was like, hey, like, you know, we're in. You feel me? So I was like, all right, cool. So I let them kind of, you know, come on board. It's always better to work with a team than it is to work alone. So we just kind of like rallied together, and we just put together a dope event.
And that's cool, because some people that had never listened to Nipsey in the East Coast, in the South that we're at,
for sure,
through probably,
yeah,
you know,
it was one of the first.
Bond.
Yeah, it was one of the first sold out shows that we had done. It was the biggest, you know, especially profit wise. Like it was one of the first shows that we had actually made a little bit of money on. All our other shows are so expensive and so different. Like we had 953 people come out for this West Coast artist that. You know, nobody had really tapped into yet, so it was dope, really cool.
Yeah, way to be a part of that genesis.
No doubt.
Speaking of shows, as far as like the creator, you know, we have a really cool creative community here that's really trying to break through.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't have spaces, you know,
for sure,
to kind of express themselves. I know you're being able to give people spaces to express themselves, but what's that dynamic like as far as like the artist community here? And I know you've been supporting them.
Yeah.
With this last project with our local artists.
Yeah.
How do you feel about, you know, really being the catalyst for it?
So it's difficult. Like you said, the infrastructure is not in Charlotte yet in terms of like understanding the value that that creative community brings. I see it because I'm on the ground level we print for these brands, we book these artists, we engage with these people as humans first, and then as artists second a lot of times. So we take it for granted. And when you look at these different venues, they don't really have that appreciation for these different artists, whether it be musicians, visual artists, anything. So it makes it really difficult to cultivate stuff in Charlotte, just because of that lack of opportunity when it comes down to the venues. So I'm working on an article right now with my writer called "Local Artists versus Local Hip Hop." And it's centered around just kind of, been working on it for about a year, probably even longer, not working on it, but shelving it for about a year. But after these different articles, Charlotte Magazine, these different articles started to kind of break that ice. I figure soon is a good time. So, in that article, we kind of just took data from these different venues and looked at the different shows that they put on and what percentage of them were local artists, what percentage of them were local hip-hop artists.
This is good information.
Yeah, and out of 163 shows, less than 1%, you get what I'm saying, are local artists.
Data.
So, that is, that speaks a lot to it. It's even though we're in Charlotte, there's a lot of racial disparity that's going on when it comes down to what these venues see hip-hop crowds as, and it makes it really difficult to be able to make it a thing out here. Yeah.
I know, like, my girlfriend being a muralist and this whole mural wave that just happened past.
Yeah.
The museum reaching out, we see street art is valuable.
Yeah.
It takes, like, a shot, rumble, to wake these people up from slumber.
For sure.
Hopefully they won't be asleep too long. You think Charlotte will be the next Atlanta, or Charlotte's its own Charlotte, right?
Yeah, I mean...
What's those dynamics look like?
I mean, Charlotte's its own Charlotte. When it comes down to what the future holds for Charlotte, the thing is that it's up to us, So we get to decide that, and I think that when it comes down to fighting the venues, I've kind of stopped. I'll play their game to do what I need to do and do what I want to do, but at the end of the day, we've got to build infrastructure of our own. We've got to create.
Don't let us catch a check.
Yeah, don't let us. You get what I'm saying? Because the first thing is, I don't want to fight with them. I don't want to argue with them. I want to put them out of business. You know what I mean? Like I want to meet them face to face. I want to meet them on their ground, because we have the willpower, the drive, and not the resources financially yet, but community-wise, we can rally together. And I think that it's going to be up to myself. It's up to you. It's up to anybody that's considering themselves a creative in Charlotte to kind of form and start to push a collective narrative. Yeah.
I was listening to some Nipsey music and just listening to some investment advice, but going through the Industrial Revolution, going through the Industrial Revolution, going to the moon, the social media revolution that we're currently have been blessed to be a part of. What do you think the next wave for? I think it's cutting out the middleman, power in the creator's hands, stuff that you've been doing, the multimedia wave, content.
Yeah.
And also taking advantage of like what's happening with decentralized economies.
Of course.
What do you think the next wave is?
So I agree with you on the decentralized wave. I think that we, when it comes down to the next wave, I mean, I think that on a social media tip, I think that there needs to be more unison with these apps. I think that we, if you think about our habits, how we actually dial in, we go to Instagram, boom, we go to Facebook, boom, we go to Twitter, boom, we go to Snapchat, boom, you know what I mean? So I think that the next wave is going to be some sort of centralized app that will kind of house all of them, just so that we can kind of get them all on the same page, no pun intended, but literally. So I think that something like that's going to be the next interface in social media development for sure. Just in general, I think that we're going to continue to I think that we're just going to continue to build in that digital space. I think that decentralized networks are going to become huge. The blockchain is going to kind of
help your business possibly.
Yeah, help the business. Yeah, of course. I think that, just in all aspects of our life, it's going to change a lot of things. It change a lot of the ways that we work. And I think that it's going to be positive for sure, And I think that we can't even really plan it. Like, you can't ask somebody in the internet age, how's the internet going to help your business? They're going to say, it's going to be, even when I have try and explain blockchain to people or to myself, it's like, how do you explain it? Can you explain to me the internet? You get what I'm saying? We use it every day. We utilize it in every facet of our life almost, but I can't really explain to you how it works. And I think that the same thing is true with these new networks that are coming about. It's like, we don't know how they're going to be used, because it's going to be such a slap in the face that we're just going to kind of have to get there, So.
And we got to steer away from frauds, like Bitcoin SV.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know about, cryptocurrency.
Crypto, yeah.
I know you
dabble.
Always. You're like the earthworm. You like to dig in.
Yeah, for sure.
You see the roots before possibly they sprout.
Mm-hmm.
As far as being, you touched earlier about like racial divide here in Charlotte. Being a man of faith, a Muslim man, I don't even like calling ourselves minorities. We're the majority.
For sure.
It's definitely not the word.
For sure. Yeah.
We don't get represented by a third party. We are, sovereign.
Yeah.
But being a man of color in the space, I know it brings you joy. We got to see more black businesses being supported.
Absolutely.
What's it been like for you being a person of color with a business?
Well, it's cool. It also, being Arab is kind of weird. We walk this middle ground that we benefit off of white privilege because I still look white. So once you hear my name, you kind of, oh, wait a minute now, Samir. So to me, it's more so I've wanted to take a stance more towards my own people, towards Arab people, and kind of make sure that what we're doing in our businesses globally isn't furthering the discrimination that's been kind of already put in place by white America. Because what I notice a lot of Arabs, my own people, want to do is colorism, but more so being inspired by the way that white people do business. You get what I'm saying? And I say that for lack of a better term, but we have to make sure that we're not doing our part to perpetuate these systems that already exist. And to me, I want to build a business that isn't, that's benefiting the community that it lives in. Especially if it's going to be a majority black community. Like, I don't want to build a cell phone store. I don't want to build a liquor store. I don't want to build a corner store that's just poisoning communities further and further and further, for sure. And do my part to make sure that the business that I build can help create, whether it be just inspiration, or whether it be an actual platform, or whether it be my product. I want to be able to empower people that are creative and that want to put their stuff out there, especially people of color. So to me, it's just about like, okay, how can I set a good example for what I do, and make sure that by duplicating this business here, it's not perpetuating systems that aren't good, and not trying to ride the waves of those systems that are already created, but kind of go against that grain and say, you know what, we can build something that's good, we can inspire people, we can motivate people, we can help put people in a position that will make them want to do good. So yeah.
When I visualize it, I always think of these two words, a sacred economy, and I think about a hive, how a beehive works, and it's that same thing going back to blockchain. And I just want to. Do you feel like in the Arab community you're an inspiration? I mean, do you have these like social circles of people coming in, starting businesses like this, or?
I mean, the thing is that within the Arab community, it's kind of already, it's kind of already the Arab community is already inspired to build and to sell. We're merchants kind of at our core. You know what I mean? Like we bargain, we haggle. It's what we do. You know what I mean? Like it's in our DNA. It's in our blood. So in that sense, I don't say that I'm so much of an inspiration. But when I get around my Arab homies, I try and like get into like, y'all, we got to be official. You get what I'm saying? We as Arabs, and I'm speaking generally, want to avoid the rules. We want to avoid our taxes. We want to do it bootleg. We want to, skim off the top. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. But to win at the game, you have to play by the rules of the game until you're in the position to be able to change it. You get what I'm saying? So this business game is set up with particular rules at hand, and get yours how you got to get it. And I'm not saying that Uncle Sam is my best friend, but at the same time, we've got to be official. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, our score is not going to count towards the scorekeepers. And the only way that we'll be able to overthrow or take over or influence the scorekeepers is going to be by playing by the rules and earning respect in that realm, and then changing it on our own accord. We have to be able to do what is required to be done, and then we have to change what's required to be done.
Facts. Mm-hmm. Where do you see Family Matters in 2025? In that era?
Yeah. In closets. You get what I'm saying? Like, in 20, 25 years, Family Matters will be in closets, whether it be brand new stuff or, old retro stuff. Like, I believe it'll still be in closets in 20, 25 years.
Yeah. You look to expand more flagship stores?
With Family Matters? With Family Matters, that's not necessarily on the plan as of now. In terms of actual physical locations, this store in particular means something to Charlotte. It's a testament, you know what I mean, in terms of like what's possible, and that's why we have this store in Charlotte first and foremost. In terms of the duplication, the way that e-commerce is going, the way that retail in other stores works, I think that that's more so the route, whereas like we'll probably pop up in some markets in the next 15, 20 years, who knows. I really hate retail personally, so I want to avoid it at all costs. But with the printing will definitely be popping up as many places as we can globally.
And you're a recent father, so
appreciate it.
How's fatherhood?
It's dope, man. It's the best thing, man. It's
a true investment.
Yeah, for sure. And it it just puts so much into perspective when it comes down to like what's actually important. So yeah, being able to be a dad is just like to see something just go to the top of your priority list instantly, it just helps, man. It brings peace, it brings sanity to me, and it just helps put things into perspective. Like I don't work late, you know what I mean, anymore. I got to get home, and
you like that?
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I don't even take my computer home. You get what I'm saying? Like being able to clock out has been the best thing for me. Just being able to kind of separate and just, because people feel like when you're in that entrepreneurship path, like you said, you've got to let your work, or I'm not going to say they feel like they do have to, but they inevitably let their work control them. So they let, that becomes the priority. And, don't get me wrong, like we want to come in here, we want to kill it. But I tell my team, like, look, whatever you've got going on outside, leave it at the door when you come in. And whatever you've got going in here, leave it at the door when you leave. Because I don't want to build a draining environment. I don't want you to be thinking about this and having nightmares about people's shirts. Like this is something that it's really important for us to be able to control and put into a controlled environment. And I think that I want to control my work. I don't want to let my work control me.
Facts. Yeah. I remember with Ill Glory just coming out with this digital content, and this I feel like it was pretty innovative, but I've always had to keep up with it. And it was there for me to hey, this is some content that helps you grow and build a market. Yeah. And it was just I was tired of just putting stuff out there just to put stuff out there. But what do you want to say to people? What's in the immediate future for Family Matters in the next month or two?
We're working.
I know digital apparel as well.
In the next couple months, we're just going to continue to create. We're super system based right now, so we're not so much concerned about producing as much as which my consumers don't really like to hear. The fans of the brand don't really like to hear that, but that's the reality of it. We're figuring out our systems. We're making sure that the next time we go, we won't stop going, because that's the biggest cancer to a brand. It's just like going, stopping, going, stopping, going, stopping. So we're finding our pace. We're figuring out what we can do and consistently do and always do. So that's what's on our schedule. In terms of for digital apparel, we're going to keep printing. We're going to keep, helping people tell their stories and just kind of, continuing to give our clients that voice to be able to express themselves. Some of my biggest inspirations, from a brand perspective, one of my biggest inspirations was 10 Deep. Just as a brand, like, I loved what they did. I loved the stories that they told. I love how dope their clothing was, as well as meaning something. My mentor, Jay, over at Social Status and the Whitaker Group, he's given me a lot of, just wisdom and again, just an example. Those examples is some of the best mentorship you can get. Just a good example. And my mom, she's a fighter. She
Your mom's been doing great things.
Yeah, she's a superstar, a way bigger superstar than I could ever be.
Shout out to Mama Family Matters.
Yeah, facts. She's
heart.
yeah, I mean, she's on the front line. You know what I mean? Willing to fight, wise, willing to speaking her mind, doing what's right, and just she sets one of the best examples for me, and just kind of motivates and inspires and again fights for what's right at the end of the day, regardless of the cost. So that's something that I'm super appreciative for, and that inspires me on a daily basis, honestly.
So anything else you want to talk about?
Nah, just do you.
I would say, give him some final words to say. Give him some like Samir would tell even his younger self, his community.
Yeah.
Look back on this when you're 40. You're gonna see this.
Yeah. I mean, just control your narrative, man. Just make sure that you are at the forefront of what you want to see, and don't sit back and be critical. Without action. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't be critical without action. Don't be, oh, Charlotte is this, Charlotte is that, without getting in the mud, getting in the dirt, and actually putting some effort towards creating it the way that you want it to be. And just keep working. Just keep working. Keep your head down. Keep working. Don't stop. Like you said, don't quit. And just be yourself and do what feels good.
Content, wisdom. Thank you, beloved.
No doubt, bro.
Thanks for being on the show.
Nah, it's my pleasure, bro.
Look forward to seeing you next year.
For sure.
See how the update's going.
Absolutely.
Just keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring.
No doubt, man. I appreciate that.
To hear these models, but I feel like Giants gonna be the ones who create the business models. That's what we trying to do with this Proud to Pay. Fuck the middleman. And this disruptive multimedia collab that I'm doing with Ryan Leslie.
Overtime.